Hi everyone, this is Michelle with Michelle Murphy. I am super excited to be on this webinar with you today. On this webinar, you are going to learn the 3 communication mistakes that folks like you, hospitality sales professionals, make selling to folks like me, site selection professionals. Okay, I am having a little bit of a problem here. Sorry, technical difficulty. There we go. I hit the stop button instead of go forward. All right. So, are you a hotel sales professional that has leads coming in from third parties like Helms Briscoe, Conference Director, and Avery Murphy? Or perhaps you are furloughed and you are just keeping your skills set sharp for when you return to your desk. Or maybe you are at your desk catching some leads and you want to know how to stand out to site selection professionals, then this is the right webinar for you. Just to give you a heads up, I get excited, so sometimes I can zip through slides quickly and talk very fast. It might feel like you're guzzling from a fire hose at times. So please feel free to stick around till the end because I am going to answer some live Q&As as we wrap up. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box as we go, and I'll try and answer as many of them as possible as we go. If you could just chat, let me know in the chat box if you can see and hear me okay. That would be great. There's a little bit of a delay, so if you could let me know that you can see and hear me in the chat box, that would be great. Oh, great. We've got 5 people here with us. We have Nellie, Tom, Fiona, Heather, Adrian. Welcome, everybody. If you could let me know. Okay, Heather, you can hear me. Great. I got one go. Let's keep this party rolling on. Okay, take off the current hat you have on and put your hat on from February. Remember way back in February when things were normal? Let me know if you've thought any of these things or any of these sounded familiar. There is a disconnect with communication. Everything is done via Cvent. Not sure that all of the information is being presented to their client. How do we differentiate ourselves against the competition? Are we getting everything so that we can be competitive with everyone else? My hotel destination is unique. Is the site selection professional presenting us in the best light? I sent the proposal and then I never hear from them again. Now, put on today's hat. Maybe this might sound familiar. Today I got the call. I've been laid off, furloughed, or my position has been eliminated. OMG, IMAX is canceled. Our hotel has suspended operations. Prepare for the new normal. How do I pivot? What do I pivot to? Now, before we jump in, I have studied NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I don't know, you might have heard of this guy, Tony Robbins. He's a guru at this stuff. Well, in all of the studying that I have done, I have learned about these 3 learning states. And as soon as I learned about them, I had this big relief. A little weight was lifted off my shoulders because up until then, as a professional, I didn't feel comfortable saying when I was confused, frustrated, or overwhelmed. And now that I understand that confusion simply means I'm about to learn something new, frustration means that I'm on the verge of a breakthrough. In overwhelm, I have choices. I can either remove information and go back to the way things have been done, or I could really lean into the overwhelm and develop a new system. Now, if you haven't felt any confusion, frustration, or overwhelm in the hospitality industry in the last 6 months, I want to check and make sure you still have a heartbeat because we have had a lot of confusion, frustration, and overwhelm, and we're still navigating our way through this pandemic. So embrace these learning stage, not just in this webinar, but in any learning situation that you find yourself in the future. In this workshop, you will learn the 3 communication mistakes that hospitality sales professionals like you make selling to folks like myself. We're also going to touch a little bit on third parties and this pandemic, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to understand which third parties you want to get to know. Stick around till the end because we're going to give you access to a podcast where you will learn the 4 common sales blocks. This podcast is gifted to us by Ursula Menches with Sales Coach Now. And I have to share with you folks, I came out of the womb as a sales professional. I love my craft. I love what I'm doing. And I've read all these books, and every time I read a book, I feel like I could have written 3, 4, 5 chapters out of the book. And when I listened to Ursula's podcast, I was shocked to find out that I actually had 2 of these sales blocks. So stick around to the end. It's a really great podcast. And right now, do yourself a favor. See this thing right here? Turn this to the off position. Power off of your cell phones, emails, Facebook, and let's get fully present. And when you are fully present, just type in that you are fully present in the chat. And Fiona, Nellie, Heather, thank you for joining me in the chat. If the rest of you could just let me know that you are fully present, that would be wonderful. There's a little bit of a delay between the chat and the slides, so I'm going to give you a second. I just want to make sure we've got everybody here. Get off of that Facebook, folks. LinkedIn, power it down. Emails, shut them off. Let's get fully present for the next hour that we're about to spend together. Yay, thanks guys, thanks so much. Okay, you've joined me in the chat. Now, I have been in the hospitality industry for nearly 30 years. Can you believe that? 3 decades. I was shocked when I started to do the math. And you know what? I'm going to giggle right now because I have my professional O-ring lighting, and I want to tell you it's cheaper than Botox, and it works just as well for things like this. But seriously, folks, I spent 13 years on the hotel side with major brands like Wyndham Hotels, Starwood Hotels and Resorts before they were acquired by Marriott, and Intercontinental Hotels and Resorts. And in 2005, I joined Helms Briscoe, and have been thrilled with that decision. Even now, even in the past 6 months, I'm thrilled with my decision to be a hotel site selection professional. And I'm super, super excited because in 2012, I hung my own shingle, Avery Murphy. And I did that to do exactly what I'm doing with you here right now. I had this vision of educating hotel and destination sales professionals to learn how to work best with site selection professionals. So I'm super excited that we're all here today. As we get started, I would like for you to start by getting in the mind frame of a site selection professional. I want to take you into my mind. I want to take you into the mind of my brothers and sisters who are in the hotel site selection space. So when I started in September of 2005, I was all excited, and I started smiling and dialing and calling clients that I had worked with and that I was super excited with, because now I wasn't just representing one hotel or a chain of hotels or, a couple of hotels in a portfolio to my clients. I could represent my client to any hotel worldwide. So I was really excited about that opportunity, and my excitement came through, and I actually got clients within the first 90 days. I didn't just get clients in the first 90 days. I actually got those clients through searches to contracts, which I have to tell you, I'm tooting my own horn here. That's a really great thing to acquire when you step into our space. But here's where the leap of faith comes in. Imagine, even right now, if you're sitting at your desk, imagine that you are going to go into your boss and give your 2-week notice. And you get your last paycheck. So I got my last paycheck in September of 2005. And I got my first groups booked in that first 90 days. My first group did not actually consume until late March of 2006. Then I had to send the hotel a pickup report, got the pickup report back. We sent out an invoice. By the time the hotel got the invoice and submitted a check, it was in April, maybe the beginning of May of 2006 before I saw my first income coming in from being an entrepreneur site selection sales professional. That's what that leap of faith is like. So get into that mindset of site selection professionals as I review the rest of the material with you here today. So I have a question for you. Are you an action taker or an order taker? Go ahead. Oh, look at you guys are rock stars, man. I had another group earlier today. They were here, but they weren't like rocking like you guys are. You guys are rock stars. You're all joining me in the chat. So join me in the chat and share with me, are you an action taker or an order taker? And this is my third round of doing webinars. I did these in March and I did them again in July, and now I'm in my third round for 2020 of doing these webinars. And I saw a significant change from March to July, and you guys are absolutely consistent. The folks that join these webinars during this pandemic, you guys are action takers. And remember that as you go forward. That's a great thing. That's to be celebrated. For those of you that are at your desks, you're at your desks because you're action takers. So I have spent over $100,000, yes, you heard me right, 6 figures, on personal and professional development. And what I know to be true is that when I have grown personally, it has benefited my business. And when I have grown professionally, it has benefited my personal life. And I love being a student. And I want to point out a couple of these coaches that I've had along the way. The groovy woman in the middle, holding up the peace sign, that's Ray Majors Wildman. She was my business coach of 7 years. The woman where I have on the chartreuse sweater, the beautiful blonde next to me, that is Ursula Menches. She was the one who was kind enough to gift me the podcast for you. And that guy where we're all crazy and everything, that's Iman. And Iman is the reason that you and I are on this webinar. I took a course, did a webinar just like this, signed up for his course, and voila, here I am with a webinar and all the promotion that goes along with it. And as much as I love being a student, I equally love being a teacher. As I shared with you, the reason that I completed my relationship with Helms Briscoe was to precisely do what it is that I'm doing with you here today. And it gets me super excited when I can see individual site selection professionals like Avery Murphy Rockstars, Annette Eckel up on the left-hand side there next to our VP of Everything, Kathy, with their awards, and below them with that huge smile is Christina Haig. And then you see some picture group shots of folks when we were in Santa Barbara and also in Monterey, the Avery Murphy client events. And at the client events, I also teach meeting planners how to make the most out of their relationships with us, as well as with you folks as well. And both get me out of bed. I have to say, this morning I was super excited. I don't know about you, but it's not every day that I put on full makeup and have my hair done and I'm camera ready. And it wasn't a chore for me this morning. It was an exciting thing to do because I love teaching as much as I love learning. And what this has afforded me is my dream life. I get to attend special black tie events with someone special and charter helicopters to see Sedona and Hawaii. And I chartered a boat to celebrate one of my mother's birthdays. And I've taken 3-week-long vacations. I've got a picture of me there in China. And I do not share this with you to brag. I share this with you because I have invested that money. And what I want to do today is help you get some to take some shortcuts to get to where it is that you would ultimately like to be in your career in hospitality sales. And folks, you are in the hospitality sales like I am. Because of everything that I've done, that's why I've been able to sustain my business through this pandemic. So I want you to take a moment and think about how your career can catapult even during this pandemic by you understanding the mindset of site selection professionals. I do read from a script as I go through this because it's one of the things that I've learned through my professional development that really helps me make sure that I don't miss any points. And as I shared with you, I did this webinar earlier and I actually missed some points during this slide, and I don't want you guys to miss any of this juicy stuff. So scripts are a great thing, and I highly encourage you to use them. I actually, up until I met Ursula, kind of thought that scripts were a little bit beneath me. And then I realized that all the best sales professionals have them. So here I go a little bit. we're going to talk about some really practical and applicable stuff here. And it's not like you're going to be able to wish upon a magic star. Actually, I like to use the matrix. It's not like I'm Morpheus and I go, here's the red pill or here's the blue pill, and poof, you take the pill and you get instant results. It just doesn't work like that. I'm going to share some really practical things that I do, and but it's going to take some effort and energy that you have to be willing to put in. I like to reference, especially during this time, I like to reference our beauticians, our cosmetologists, our hairstylists, and everything. Did you know that they spend over 1,500 hours before they can cut hair? And I have this cute story from a friend of mine. She was cutting her boyfriend's hair, and she did it via YouTube. She went to what she referred to as YouTube U. She held it up, and she's like, okay, how hard could it be? She saw actually her sister is a cosmetologist. She's like, her sister cut hair, da 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 da. And she started to cut her boyfriend's hair, and she went, uh-oh. And it was a uh-oh that was like, oh my goodness. And he looked in the mirror after the haircut, and there was this little hole, and she showed it to her sister, the cosmetologist. And she's like, yeah, it looks good, but there's like a hole in his haircut. And here we think we can learn something like cutting hair with a YouTube U 3-minute video, but actually hairstylists spend a lot of hours, and that's just before they can get to a salon and in a chair. They still have to practice before they get to do all the beautiful things that they do with you and I. Same thing is true for photographers. A professional photographer has to go to school for 2 years before they become a photographer. We think we're so clever with our little iPhones that we can just click, click, click and use a filter here and there, and we can do things, and it just doesn't work like that. So what I'm going to continue to do here today is teach you some of those shortcuts that you can have to really work smarter versus harder with your site selection professionals, because I want you to be on stage. I want you to be recognized at MPI, SGMP, SAE, ASAE, PCMA, site, or, President's Club at your hotels. I'd like to see someone start getting bonuses. I don't know about 2020, but 2021, come on, folks, let's do a big rush here and start to get our bonuses. I want you to be living the dream life that you want in your hospitality career. So you ready to do this? Let's get started. Okay, here are the 3 communication mistakes that hospitality sales professionals make when talking to site selection professionals. The first one is that you refer to us as your partner. The second one is that you believe relationship sales is effective. And the third one is, and then we've been taught this not just in the hospitality industry, but in corporate America in general, to avoid the competition. And what I want to share with you is that none of these are true. That's right, folks. None of that is true. So a reminder to stick around to the end. I'm going to give you that link to the podcast for the 4 sales blocks. I'm also going to throw in a one-on-one with me. I'm going to do a little bit of my NLP stuff and eliminate your block in 10 minutes. So stick around with me till the end. Okay, we're going to go back into a script, and we're going to talk about site selection professionals. We are your clients. I'm going to say that again, folks. Site selection professionals are your clients. If you take nothing else away from this webinar, this is your number 1 takeaway. And I'm getting to my little script here. So I did a lot of market research before I put this webinar together. I actually reached out to over 30 hospitality sales professionals, and less than a handful of them actually understood this. What I want to share with you is what everybody does. What you all do is, let's say I attend a site inspection or I go on a FAM with one of your hotels or at one of your destinations. We not only learn how hospitable you are, we learn how hospitable your entire team is. What you do is we get that VIP treatment. You greet us with a welcome sign in the lobby that has our logo on it. You make sure that either the general manager or both the director of sales and marketing is there to greet us. You upgrade us to a suite or a room with a great view. You give us a personalized welcome amenity. Everyone does this. This webinar is about how you can stand out. And here's the moment where you guys can actually stand out. When we send the RFP, I don't know why this happens, but it's almost like a switch. And all of a sudden that partner word comes out and you're like, hey, Michelle, you're my partner. Yeah, but do you say that when you get a lead from a direct client? Hey, we're partners. You interact with them differently. I know that because I was you and I did interact differently as well. And what I want to share is I don't want to do the blame game here. I use partner. I still catch myself, especially since I put together the slide where your clients, and that's why I refer to you as hospitality sales professionals instead of partners, because there is that distinction. Unless, of course, you refer to all of your clients as partners, then that's a tomato sort of situation. But when you start to treat and in your mind view your site selection professionals and your third parties as clients, you cannot help but communicate with us differently on voicemails, communicate differently with us on emails. And when you communicate that way, it's going to be much more effective, and you're going to stand out, and we can't help but respond back to you more expeditiously. I shared with you, I did some studying with NLP, and one of the things that's helpful when you are learning new information is to understand the why. Why are you here? So take a few moments and think about why you're here. Are you here because perhaps you are furloughed or you're laid off and you want to keep your skill set sharp? Maybe you're here because you're at your desk and there's no clear direction on where to go to get business and get groups for your hotels. Gone are the days where you have so many leads coming in that you don't know what to do. Maybe you're here because you've considered being a site selection professional, and you might want to know how to be an Avery Murphy Rockstar. But sincerely, why are you here, folks? Take a moment, think about that, and feel free to share that with us in the chat. So on to the second communication mistake. As I said, I like to refer to my script, especially for these juicy parts, because I don't want you to miss anything. So the second secret to stand out to site selection professionals is, without feeling overwhelmed or feeling like you have to send out more emails or make more phone calls. I actually attended this marketing networking group where I learned from a marketing VP for a San Diego biotech firm that they are utilizing a new sales book for both their marketing and sales professionals. And this sales book is called The Challenger Sale. The Challenger Sale speaks to how selling has evolved as customer buying behaviors have changed, and with the introduction of third-party consultants. Now, the book actually speaks about third-party consultants in the medical industry, but obviously we refer to site selection professionals in our industry as third parties, right? So we have them too. We have these third-party consultants. And the book states that for organizations that participate in a solution selling model, and boy, folks, if we are not in solution land right now, I don't know when we would ever be in solution land. We're trying all different ways to get business, group business specifically, to come back to our hotels. That the difference between star performers is 200% more than core performers. So that means your folks that are getting awards, your top producers at your industry event, not your industry events, at your hotels, like those top performers that are up there, they are outperforming everybody else who's sitting in the audience by 200%. Now, what the Challenger Sale did is they identified 5 types of sales professionals. The first one is the hard worker. And the hard worker is exactly like they sound. They show up early, they stay late, they put all of their entries into the CRM, they turn their expense reports in on time, they follow the SOPs, and they're not just a dream for the people that employ them, they're a dream for the team that they work with as well. And then you have the relationship builder. And this is how you know you're a relationship builder. If you are going out with one of your clients and they've become your friend and you're going to happy hours, or they're coming to your birthday celebration or you're going to their birthday celebration and you don't put it on an expense report, you, my friend, are a relationship builder. The third one is the lone wolf, the mavericks of the sales world. And these guys kind of beat to their own drum. They drive their bosses crazy because they are the people that will turn 6 months worth of expense reports in all at once. They are the people that never put entries into the CRM system, but by golly, these are innovative folks. They're pretty intuitive as well, and they just know how to connect with clients and make things happen. That's the lone wolf. The fourth one is the problem solver. And here's how you know if you're a problem solver. You say, as you're driving into work this morning, I'm going to make 20 prospecting calls. You get to your desk, you get all settled in, you get your cup of tea. I'm going to take a little sip right now. And you go, okay, let me check my emails before I start to hop on the phone. Oh my goodness. My clients in-house, they have a challenge down in banquets. You go running down to banquets. You go down there, you find out that the banquet captain handled everything, but because there was a little bit of a snafu, you want to make sure everything else goes without a hitch. So you run to the front desk, did the VIP check in? No, they didn't check in. You get with housekeeping, you go check out the VIP guest room, you make sure everything's okay there. Oh, by the way, you want to go by the food and beverage department. You want to make sure the amenities all set up. And next thing you know, you're back at your desk. The day is done and you didn't make those 20 prospecting calls. They'll be there for you tomorrow. When you have a day like that, you're a problem solver. And the fifth one is the challenger sale. Now, the book's called The Challenger Sale. So the challenger sale is the challenger sales professional is the one that outperforms all the others by 200%. But what I found surprising, actually I fell out of my chair, was the one that performed the least effectively. Tell me in the chat which one you think performs the least effectively. Is it the hard worker, the relationship builder, the lone wolf, or the problem solver? Again, I'm going to repeat that. The hard worker, type in the chat when you think you've got the one that performs the least. The relationship builder, the lone wolf, or the problem solver. I want to see if you guys are as shocked as I am by what the book revealed. Okay, while you're typing, big drum roll. I know we're going to hit some things in the chat here because you guys are on it big time. It's the relationship builder. The relationship builder is the one that performs the least. And here, now, before I begin, I want to share that I'm not saying you don't have good relationships and build great rapport with your clients. Absolutely. That is a must. In fact, all of these qualities are great to have. It's great to be a problem solver. It's great to be a hard worker and follow all the rules. It's great to be innovative and intuitive like the lone wolf is. Those are all great things. But what the relationship builder is mostly promising their client is unlimited access to their time. The challenger sales profile is the one, they are the debaters on the team. They have a deep understanding of their customers and their customers' business. They do not debate only with their external customers. Now, this is key. They also debate with their internal customers. Okay? So it's not just their external customers. They also debate with their internal customers. Now, they don't do this in an aggressive manner, but they do it in a way that causes people to think differently. The three things that the challenger concentrate on are teaching, tailoring, and taking control. Now, in March, I talked about internal customers with the hospitality sales professionals on these webinars with regard to like your revenue team and your directors of sales and your general managers. And I talked about how to navigate getting through a group piece of business through RevMax. That's kind of irrelevant because right now with the demand the way that it is and you get a group coming in, I just did a search for January and it was in Northern California and every hotel that replied to me had availability, which that hasn't happened in Northern California since I started my career in 2005. Started this part of my career in 2005. So And in July, I started to talk about force majeure clauses, and that we've kind of gotten past that part as well in this pandemic. Everybody's kind of gotten used to that. What I want to talk to you about right now is to talk to your internal clients. And a lot of times right now, because of this furloughs and the layoffs and positions being eliminated until our business comes back more robustly, is sometimes you're talking to your management companies. Sometimes it's the director of sales making decisions. I haven't heard people referencing the revenue manager in quite some time. As a matter of fact, as I say that, I wonder if revenue managers, I'm sure they're still there managing the individual leisure and individual leisure travel. But with group travel, I don't know that that's such a big deal any longer. But what I want to share with you to think about teaching, tailoring, and taking control is in 2021, the contracts that are already out there, especially those that were those deals that were struck back in 2019 for 2021. When our business comes back, and it is coming back, I just actually had a client reach out to me for a brand new RFP for April. And as I said, I've got a search going right now for January. So business is coming back slowly. But there's also business that we still have on the books. And the fact of the matter is, it's not probable that these groups are going to perform the way that they thought they were going to perform when they went into contract in 2019. And what I want to share with you that you can share with your internal customers as you go through those negotiations on attrition clauses and food and beverage minimums, that sort of thing. What I want to share with you is, as we were negotiating force majeure clauses with hotels that were really taking a hard stance and no, this isn't a force majeure because this and that and the other thing, only to eventually fulfill that, we ended up with our clients, the force majeure ended up 100% of the time being impacted. But the hotels that were holding strong, for whatever their reasons were, our clients that left such a bad taste in our mouth that now when our clients are starting to book out into the hotel world, they remember that and they don't want to go back. So in 2021, I want you to remember the lessons that you've learned through these force majeure conversations and carry them forward in 2021 to your internal clients on how to be flexible with attrition and food and attrition clauses and food and beverage minimums, and really be flexible. That's my takeaway for you right now on how to use this challenger sales model to communicate more effectively with your internal clients. I refer to my neuro-linguistic programming and adult learning, and repetition is key. So let's recap here for a little bit. Site selection professionals are your clients. Number one takeaway, if you take nothing else from the time we have together here during this hour, site selection professionals are your clients is the number one thing to take away. We just talked about the challenger sales specifically for internal clients as well as external clients. And I asked you why you are here. So, and Nellie, thank you so much for joining me in the chat and telling me what you thought as the least likely model there. Okay, time for me to reference my script again on the communication mistake that competition is a no-no. Absolutely not. Collaboration will take you further and faster than the competition. So now I want to share with you that you can expand your sales talent and truly work smarter versus harder. Ever notice how there's a McDonald's, Burger King, and Taco Bell all at the same intersection? Or better yet, how airports and malls have food courts? The owners of your hotels know about this as they build and acquire hotels near other hotels. In fact, many of them have begun to build what I refer to as hotel campuses. And some of them have competing brands such as Marriott and Hilton on sharing the same parking lot, owned by the same owners. And I know of one in the San Diego market where the sales team is selling a Marriott and a Hilton product, both because it's the same ownership. There are many opportunities where working together with someone who could technically be considered your competitor that can catapult you both further than either of you could have ever done on your own. Now, here's some examples of how I did this in my hospitality career. When I was on the hotel side, I used to refer all of my wedding inquiries to a third party. And because I did that, he reciprocated to me with first right of refusal for groups that were the right size for the hotel that I was working with at that time. And with that symbiotic relationship, I made my numbers and made my bonuses every month and every quarter. It was wonderful. And while I was with Helms Briscoe, I teamed with other Helms Briscoe associates because I had built a book of business that to maintain it took up all my time. And by teaming with another Helms Briscoe associate, and here's the thing, folks, Helms Briscoe associates are all competitors of one another. Conference Direct associates are all competitors of one another. Avery Murphy associates, competitors of one another. We're all independent contractors. We're all solopreneurs, or in my case, an entrepreneur because I have a team underneath me. But to think that Helms Briscoe competes with Conference Direct, yeah, but not really. It's all that everyone within Helms Briscoe is a competitor of one another. And while I did this, I brought in a competitor to team with me on accounts, just like with Avery Murphy. I bring in Avery Murphy Rockstars to team with me on my accounts because it allows me to go out and find more business and develop my client portfolio so that I can make more money. It's the same thing that you want to do, is figure out how you can work smarter. And I'm going to give you an actual opportunity to figure out how to mastermind with folks. So, third parties and the pandemic. I want to first share with you a little bit about third parties, and then I'm going to share with you something that I recently learned that I am sharing with folks in our space to get our business moving again, okay? The first thing is plan and a way to adapt. Flexibility is key. Have a strategy with adaptability baked in. An example of this is like a hybrid meeting. But what I want to give you right now, folks, is that what I highly recommend doing is a client appreciation event so that you can bring clients back into your hotels, and do this with your third parties. When you bring the third party, ask them to bring a client, if they have a client located in your backyard, to bring them with you. I would recommend that you do the client appreciation event between 10:30 and 11:30 so that you don't have to serve breakfast, so it's not a big cost, or you don't have to serve lunch, it's not a big cost, but you can do an AM break and you can show and demonstrate how that can be done effectively. And then instead of giving swag to everybody, create a contest and have different levels with like 3 big swag bags that you give, where people are doing social media posts when they come to your client appreciation event to talk about the arrival experience and how you made it safe and how everybody was masked up and how there was social distancing, and have a social media contest on how to demonstrate how the food was prepared and how the break stations were prepared, so that again things can be safe to bring meetings back. Because what we've learned is that while the meeting planners want to bring things back, they are often part of a group of people that need to make a decision, and they need to present to the stakeholders of their meetings on how to make those decisions and how that they can see that it happens safely. So that's my takeaway for third parties during the pandemic. And here's the thing about working smarter versus working harder. My portfolio, I have between 20 and 30 clients when my portfolio was at its peak. And those 20 to 30 clients placed over 400 meetings a year. Those 400 meetings consumed over 20,000 room nights. Now, you could reach out to 20 or 30 clients to grab up those 20,000 room nights, or you can work with 10 Michelle Murphys, 10 site selection professionals like myself that have equally large portfolios. And in this way, instead of making 200 dials, you're making 10 dials to get to 200 folks. That's how you're going to work smarter versus working harder. And I'm going to give you an invitation on how to get with one of these groups here in just a little bit. Again, repetition is key for adult learning. So let's recap. Number one takeaway, Site selection professionals are your client. Hey, if you want to have a little bit of fun, join me in the chat and write in there. Site selection professionals are my client, just so that it sinks in for you. Use your sales skills with both your external clients as well as your internal clients. We talked about using the challenger sales model with your internal clients, especially as you're navigating contracts going forward in 2021. Collaboration, aka masterminding, is the fast track, and I'm going to give you an invitation for that in a second. Talked about how to do a client event at your hotel so that we can get groups in, so that people can see that it's safe to bring meetings back into the hotels. And in case you can't tell, I absolutely love working with guys like yourself that are so hanging out with me here in the chat. You guys are fabulous. So a reminder to stick around to the end. We're getting close here, folks. I'm going to give you that link to the podcast as well as that link to a 10-minute one-on-one with me. We have covered a lot, but there is still so much left to learn. Do you feel like this? Like you've been drinking for a fire hose? I know I'm like, I need to grab a sip of water because I have been sharing so much information. I was so excited with you guys. If you feel like that, put in the chat, that's me. Just go ahead and put it in the chat. That's me. So here's what we haven't covered, because I simply, like I said to you, Morpheus, it's going to take more than an hour for me to download all of the information that I have. What we haven't covered is how to make your proposals stand out. We did a little bit about the mindset, but what a day in the life of a site selection professional looks like. I would love to show you my Cvent screen from my perspective, and so that you can see it, how we look at it, and how we prepare presentation reports for our clients. When you submit those proposals, how does that get put together that we actually put together and show our clients? So again, all my action takers out there, this is what I have for you, an invitation for you to take some action on. I've been where you are. I know how you feel. Trust me, folks, I am going through this pandemic as well. It has been an interesting ride, and it's going to continue to be an interesting ride as we make our way through the rest of 2020 and into 2021. So my invitation is to invite you to the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. Now, the first component of this is that you're going to get 4 live Zoom calls, coaching sessions with me, where we're going to go over those things that we haven't covered yet. Take a day in the life of the site selection professional, where I share my screen with you on Cvent, and I teach you how to create proposals that stand out. And you are going to begin to apply what you have learned week 1, because that's why I have you. Oh, look at this, Adrienne, you just made me so happy. Site selection professionals are my clients. See, every time you engage with me like that, every time you take action, it's not just to sit and get. You're actually applying it. In adult learning, it sticks with you more. So you're going to begin to apply what you have learned in the first coaching session, week 1. Here's a success story from the last Hospitality Sales Masterclass in August. Blossom shared, I really enjoyed getting the perspective of the third-party planners, and she loved seeing how we look at Cvent. And she, in the exercise, in the assignment, she connected with site selection professionals, and she found that people really wanted to chat, and it was nice to get an opportunity to see how everyone was doing. And she's going to carry that forward going on. Here, now you might be thinking, okay, what if I can't make the Zoom call? Don't worry, because we're going to have recordings. And as I shared with you, repetition is key for adult learning. So even if you attend the course, I highly encourage that you watch the recording a second time. And here's that invitation to a mastermind. Lifetime access to a closed Facebook group with others who attended the course. Not only are you going to, you will get a qualified list of site selection professionals. Already, we have a list of 125 site selection professionals that have been qualified. I said, what would it be like if you had 10? Here's 125. That's also where you can interact with me in between sessions. And hey, Pete, folks, we are in the live events business. So as soon as 100 people go through the Hospitality Sales Masterclass, we are going to be doing a live event with a panel of site selection professionals and role-playing exercises. So just to recap, you get the 4 coaching sessions, the recordings of those sessions, lifetime access to the Facebook group, that mastermind that we talked about, and VIP tickets to the live event. The total value of this is $1,497. I'm also going to throw in bonuses where you will get interviews with site selection professionals where they're going to answer questions like, how do you select the hotels that you send your RFP through? And as I told you, like if you work with 10 of me, it's 200 clients. Actually, these 10, it's 247 clients. They place over 855 meetings a year, and those 855 meetings a year consume over 105,000 total room nights. And you're also technology. Hey, folks, if there was ever a time that we need to embrace technology, this is it. Don't you love Zoom? I actually love Zoom. I'm so excited that it's become household usage now. We're going to give you an interview with a hospitality tech expert who will share what the future of sales technology is. Now, if you're an order taker, and this doesn't even apply to any of you, or you're really not into the hospitality industry, this actually, I know you guys already, this doesn't apply to you. You are my action takers. You guys are growth oriented. You're passionate about the hospitality industry. You wouldn't be here with me if you weren't, especially in October after this pandemic has like just done its tap dance on our industry since March. And you want to have access to a growing list of qualified site selection professionals. That list is growing. It's at, actually with the 10 interviews, we're at 135 site selection professionals. I am going to give this to you, the Hospitality Sales Masterclass, for a seat deposit of $147. Now, what does that mean? That actually means I am giving you the Hospitality Sales Masterclass for free. But I did it for free for realsies in March. And you know what? Only one person showed up to all 4 courses, and nobody did the 3 assignments. One person did like a third of one assignment. When I did this in July and I did the seat deposit, I did a $97 seat deposit in July, and half of the class earned their seat deposit back. And that's how we got that growing list. So because of the list, this price is going up. So if you don't take advantage today, when I roll this out in 2021, that price is going to go up again. So right now the seat deposit is $147, and I am going to go ahead and put that in the chat so you can go ahead and go ahead and join me. There it is. There's the link in the chat to go ahead and join. So do me a favor right now, guys. We're going to do a little visualization exercise. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Imagine that upon leaving this world, you are brought to a divine storehouse whose halls are lined with endless doors decorated with nameplates. You come to one that has yours blazoned across it, and like you're a rock star. And although the host encourages you not to look inside, you are insistent. So the door is unlocked, and you are greeted by ceiling-high shelves of unopened, dust-covered, dated boxes. Excitedly, you tear the lid off of a box dated from just last week and discover that it's a blessing that you never claimed. From the previous year is that huge break at work that you never asked for. From your youth is the blessing of the ideal person just waiting to share their gifts with you, but you never took action and asked them out. And from your childhood is the dream that you never dared to dream because it seemed too big and held too much potential for disappointment. Here they sit, unopened box after box from your lifetime filled with blessings that you never took action on for fear that they were too good to be true for you. All of this abundance belongs to you, but was never delivered because you failed to take action. You can open your eyes. So I just want to remind you again that the 4 live coaching sessions, they start November 11th. They're going to be on Wednesdays at 11 p.m., 4 consecutive Wednesdays. I'm sorry, on November 11th at 2 p.m. You will get recordings. They will be in the Facebook group. You're going to get lifetime access to the Facebook group. As soon as you sign up, you will get the list of the 125 site selection professionals that are qualified. If I was you, I would pay for it just to get that list so that I can work smarter versus working harder. You're going to get VIP tickets to the live event. And again, you only have to do a $147 seat deposit, which you will get completely refunded back to you when you attend all 4 sessions, or you can watch the recording. I can see that. And you complete the 3 assignments. So another success story, Deborah from the Westin La Paloma Resort and Spa. One thing that has been fun is talking to my site selection professionals, many of whom I've had the pleasure of knowing for years, about the fact that I'm taking this class. They've been quite curious to know what the class is about, and when I tell them what it's about, they have been very appreciative that someone has taken the time to create something to represent their interests and speak the truth to hoteliers. I think it's even given me some added credibility with them that I'm investing time to learn about their world. So, folks, I would love it if you would join me in the hospitality class. The link is in the chat. Here, you made it to the end. Congratulations. Woohoo! You guys are a bunch of rock stars. You're my action takers. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. We had someone just sign up for the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. How exciting is that? Woo, woo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're going to be joining the others that joined earlier in the earlier webcast. This is so exciting. As I said, I'm going to be here for a little bit to answer any questions that you might have. Go ahead and join me in the chat with any questions that you have. A reminder that it's 4 live coaching sessions starting November 11th at 2 p.m. Recordings of the coaching sessions, lifetime access to the Facebook group, VIP tickets to the live event, and today you can get this for a small seat deposit, which when you attend all 4 sessions and you do your 3 assignments, it's really simple, folks. So things you're going to do anyhow. It's just much more structured, and it's going to help bring our industry back. It's going to help bring group business back to our hotels. I want to see, oh, Adrian, you are most welcome. You are most welcome. I'm going to stick around for a little bit longer. Give it another 45 seconds or so to see if anybody has any questions. You guys have been wonderful. Bunch of rock stars on this webinar today. I am so excited. So excited to have you all here. If anyone has any questions, like I said, I'm going to wait just a few more minutes. I'm going to take a sip of tea and can't wait for you guys to join me. Oh, we just got another person join us for the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. Woo, 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 woo. I don't know. Maybe I might have to hang out for another minute, huh? Oh, you guys are great. Thank you so much. All righty. It has been a sincere pleasure to spend this time with you today. Thank you so much, everyone, for being the professionals and rock stars that you are. Be groovy, everyone.